There we go. Sorry about that. Now I got some sound on. All right. All right. Let's see if I forgot to plug my microphone in. So we'll use the laptop microphone and hope for the best. You guys let me know if that's if you can hear me now. Looks like you should be able to. Let's post this on Twitter real quick. Denver Guitar Orchestra.com. And click here. And logo, open, and tweet. Okay, so now we've tweeted. And now we've got, I can close that one. And let's see. All right, so now we should all be in there. All right, good. Yeah, sorry guys. Normally I've been using the microphone, you know, the fancy one that we have, but it's in the other room, and I just realized that. So we'll use the laptop microphone. I got a new haircut, and I look, I don't know. How are you guys today? Good to see you. Linda's here, Sandy is here, and Vic is here. All right, raining up in Eugene. We're expecting snow here in Denver over the next few hours. The clouds are moving in. I'm hoping, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of ready for it. We have ended up with a foster dog that's going to come around and end up keeping probably. And so I'm not looking forward to walking her out in the snow. But it is what it is, right? All right, let's get going on some stuff here. It feels positively out of control in terms of everything going on, but we don't care, right? We're going to just sit down for an hour and play some guitar, and hopefully it'll be lovely. All right, let's take a look at our to-do list here today. Denver Guitar Orchestra, that's definitely the one we want. And let's go to the home. Like, I fell asleep on the couch, so I'm still like that. Thankfully, I always have a 10-minute alarm on there, and 10 minutes ago it went off, and I'm like, oh shoot, I was supposed to go in there and warm up. So I am not playing without warming up. That's not recommended. Let's. I've left Row 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 Your Boat and Three Blind Mice on here, mostly because Three Blind Mice is very simple. So go grab Row 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 Your Boat, and let's play that. Lots of rain up in Vancouver. Got the gas fireplace. Oh, how nice, right? Time to enjoy winter time again, I guess. Sandy's probably already been like, yeah, I'm done with that. We have the wood stove on. Temperatures down to the 20s. See, you guys are having winter. Vic and I have been pretending it's not happening. Although I guess rain up in Eugene is sort of normal in the winter, huh? All right, let's get going on this. We'll play Row 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 Your Boat. You can tell I've been playing a ton of guitar. This where my nail touches my thumb. It's all kind of like, ow, it's a little tender. Row, row, row your boat 3 times through. First time with chords, second time melody only, third time with the tough axe. And remember, I'm about to sing. So 1, 2, 3. It's in 6/8. You count in 2. I'll count us in 2. 1, 2. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Melody only. And then tough axe. Ready, play. Yeah, right? That's a lot, honestly. And again, as I've talked about all the time, if you can do all three of those ways, you are absolutely on the right path to making fingerstyle guitar part of what you do. And I think that when I'm sitting down and I'm getting ready to play something, my favorite thing to do is just go pick up one of these old songs off of our website and just play through them in about a book 2 or book 3. It's really pleasant, and hopefully you're having fun with doing that too. It all begins with row, row, row your boat. All right, with Three Blind Mice, let's switch over to Three Blind Mice. Three Blind Mice, I don't recommend you play tough acts on this one. It's there for you. It's super hard, and it's harder than really until the very end of book 2. It's harder than anything in book 2, and so don't feel bad if you're like, you know what, I don't want to play it. It's perfectly fine. Let's just make sure that after last week the G chord's coming along, index finger, 2nd fret, 5th string, middle finger on the top string, 6th string, 3rd fret, ring finger down here on the 1st string, 3rd fret. Okay, and this version of Three Blind Mice is slower than the usual Three Blind Mice, so let's do it nice and slow. And with your right hand, do thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. Use your thumb on the top string mostly, right? If you want to use the 5th string, that's okay too. And then these 3 fingers, those 3, on the bottom 3 strings, and they're going to pluck up, 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 up. So G string, B string, and E string. Okay, so it'll be thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. See how they run. See how they run. They all went after the farmer's wife. She cut off their tails with a carving knife. Went too fast. Have you ever seen such a sight in your life as 3 blind mice? And then to finish up. You can do that. That's a big deal, especially when we're talking about what we're going to be working on today in book 1. Being able to patiently and expertly let your fingers do all the work for you with the chord while you're singing over the top of it. You're going to be in great shape for the next couple weeks. All right, melody only. 1, 2, 3, 4. O, 2, O. O, 2, O. 3, 1, 1, O. 3, 1, 1, O. 3, 3, 3, 2, O, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, O, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, O, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 1, O, 2, O, 2, 3, 4, done. And then put the on. Usually put a G chord on. Usually whatever chord you end on, put one by itself off at the end of after the end of the sheet music, just because it always sounds nice. All right, hopefully that's going well for you. I would say, like I said, I wouldn't. It's not like I say. This is the truth. Get where you can play Frere Jacques. Get where you can play Farmer in the Dell and the other Frere Jacques. So the first one's Brother John. That one's up the neck. That one I don't care if you ever play again. But with Farmer in the Dell, Frere Jacques, and Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Those are great places to begin with the tough acts and chord melody arrangements. And then, of course, with Three Blind Mice, I don't care if you can play the tough acts or not. We're going to right now just so that you can have a chance, okay? And remember, you want to play that with your alternate fingering if you've been working on it. If you haven't been working on it, don't work on it. Don't just play the melody if you haven't been doing this part. 1, 2, ready, play. Whoops. And of course, if you are playing that, good for you. That's a super hard arrangement. That's a lot harder than well, it is harder than everything we've played out of the classical book so far. And so that's definitely a difficult technical piece in that these two fingers never move, and your whole hand's got to be rocking back and forth to get all of your melody notes in there. It's really quite challenging. All right, let's talk about your work for the week out of book 1. And most of you guys have been with me long enough to know, I think all of you guys have, to know how this little booklet works, okay? That's this Introduction to Strumming book. If it has a red headline, there's 1 chord in it. If it has a blue headline, or I'm sorry, a green headline, it has 2 chords in it. If it has a blue headline, it has 3 chords in it. And if it has a purple headline, it has 4 chords in it. Now, there's only 2 songs with the purple headline, and so you probably can just put off that 4th chord for a little while. However, we're going to talk about it right now. Okay, so on the front page of this little booklet, you have A, F sharp minor, D, and E7. And these round out all of the chords you learn in book 1. So in book 1, you learn your 4 most important chords, E, A, D, and G. And then with this little booklet, we add an F sharp minor, which will really not use that much in the beginning, and E7, which is sort of just a modified E chord. Okay, so let's talk about what they are. A chord, you guys know how to do it now. Okay, try not to hit the 6th string. It's okay if you do, but it sounds better if you just hit 5 down. Okay. And then you know D chord. We just did that on Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Let's play that. Again, you want 4 down, just 4 strings. If you hit the 5th string, it's okay. Don't hit the 6th string. Sounds weird, isn't it? With E7, put your E chord on, your regular E chord, and then just lift up your ring finger. Okay, now pay attention to the difference in sound quality. Here's E. Oh, I'm getting along with everybody. I sound really good. Everybody's a friend of the E chord. And then when you get to an E7, it's the same chord except we add an extra note into it, so it's going to sound a little more tense. Oh my God, I'm very nervous. I want to do something. I want to become somebody else, and I'm going to become an A. Go to A. Okay, and so it resolves to A. So anytime you see a 7 after a chord, that's almost always, at least in the beginning of our books, and eventually, well, in a whole lot of music, like 80% of the music, when you see a 7th chord, it's normally going to be a chord we can put on our pinky, and it's normally going to go back to the main chord, which is this one. So if we're in the key of A, which is almost everything in this book is, maybe everything in this book is, well, I'm not sure. There's a couple that aren't. If the song is in A, we're going to have a whole lot of A's, we're going to have a few D's, and every time we hit an E7, it's going to go back to A. Okay, so you can go back to other places. So if I'm on A and I'm singing and I go to a D and I grab an E7, it wants to go to A, but I can trick people and go back to D. But eventually it's got to go back to the main chord. Okay, so this little 4-chord thing here is actually going to turn out to be helpful with all of our keys. Whatever chord you put in number 1, in this case A, its best friend is going to be hanging out over here on the pinky, and it's going to be a 7th chord, and it's going to get you back to whatever chord you put here, and then whatever, and then the D in this case, A, B, C, D, is on your 4th finger. When you see that, that chord can go back to A. That chord can also go to E7. So this chord is actually pretty good friends with all 3 of them, right? A is friends with everybody. It can, whatever's on here, it can do whatever it wants. This one can go very easily back to A or on to E7. And E7 can go back to D, but it really wants to go back to A. And so, in every key that will work the same. So if we use D as our main chord, G and A are the same way. So G could go either way. A7 is going to want to go back to D. Okay, so I do find getting where you take it, especially early on in regular folk music, and a lot of guys spend their whole lives just knowing that one little fundamental trick. You can play any song in any key because you know that those 1 and the 4 and the 5 are always going to be friends, and they're all going to come back together. Now, in this book, the first 2 pages is just red headlines, okay, and it's really designed to get you comfortable with strumming. So let's just do the first song, Frere Jaga. Grab your A chord, okay, and you can do lots of different things. When we talk in this book, it's really about your right hand. So one thing is strumming down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? That'll get pretty boring pretty quick. Switch to your index finger. Now it's down, up, down, up. When you do this, make sure the face of your fingernail is going down the strings, and then the pad is coming back up. Don't have your fingernail facing up to the nut up here, or it'll get stuck between the strings. Okay, so back to your A chord. We'll go from morning bells are ringing and just down, up, down, up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Morning bells are ringing. Morning bells are ringing. Ding, dang, dong. Ding, dang, dong. So that's it's a lot more exciting when you do the down and up. And when you see guys with picks, that's what they're doing. They're going down with the pick and then back up with the pick. And we just teach it with 1 finger because I'm not a big fan of the pick. But there are times and places for picks, obviously, especially if you have a metal string guitar and you're looking for volume and you have a microphone that you're going to sing into. That's the way they do it. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And you don't have to hit all the downs and you don't have to hit all the ups. So you could go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. You can go down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. Those are called strum patterns. You can waste your life going around wondering what the real strum pattern of something is, or just make up one that works for you. Another way to play is we take these 4 fingers, thumb, index, middle, and ring. We just did this in the last song. And then let's just do thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle. Now I'm using the 5th string here because I'm playing an A, and string number 5 is an A string, so it sounds pretty good. Frere Jacques, Frere Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines, ding dang dong, ding dang dong. Okay, Big thing with that is just keeping them steady. And when you first start learning arpeggio picking, as I think all of you will agree, your fingers don't cooperate right off the bat. They're doing all sorts of weird stuff, and eventually you can get them where they're nice and smooth, but you have to practice to do that. And then, of course, the other way, what we're going to do a ton of with classical material is grab a claw and just pluck, 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 pluck. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John? Brother John. So that it also gets a little bit boring. But when I'm learning a new song and I want to go through the chords and just figure out where all the beats are and things, this is the way I almost always do it, because it gives you just this nice clean moment in time where you know where the beat is. Okay, so that's our A chord. Let's go ahead and grab a D chord. Okay, and if you look at page 2 in your booklet, you have row, row, row your boat again. So let's not do that. Let's do Farmer in the Dell in the key of D. We did it in the key of A in the main book. Here we got it in the key of D. Okay, well, let's go through all 4 strumming patterns. Let's start with thumb, then we'll go to index, and then we'll go to 4-finger pluck, and then we'll go to arpeggios. Okay, so thumb first. 1, 2, ready. The farmer in the dell, the farmer in the dell. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the farmer in the dell. Now, then let's go to index finger. The farmer takes a wife, the farmer takes a wife. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the farmer takes a wife. Then do your 4-finger pluck. Child takes the nurse. Who knows what that means? 1, 2, 3. The wife takes the nurse. The child takes the nurse. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the child takes a nurse. Okay, and then finally, 4 fingers. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb, index, middle, ring. Thumb. The cheese stands alone. The cheese stands alone. Hi-ho, the dairy-o, the cheese stands alone. Okay, so those are your 4 main ways of running your right hand. All of those are going to be useful for playing guitar, so work on all 4 of them anytime you get a chance to do that. All right, and then let's take a look at E7. So again, put your E chord on, and then just lift up your ring finger. And on page 2, you have a silly song, Lime and a Coconut. Let's just do it. What I want to do here is thumb, pluck, 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 thumb, pluck, 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 thumb, pluck, 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 thumb. My brother bought a coconut, he bought it for a dime. My sister had another one and spent it on a lime. You put the lime in the coconut, shake it all up. You put the lime in the coconut, break it all up. You put the lime in the coconut, and then you'll perk on up. Hey, call the doctor, woke him up. Here is what he said. I said, Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? I said, Doctor, to relieve this bellyache. I said, Doctor, ain't there nothing I can take? You put the lime in the coconut, drink 'em both together. Put the lime in the coconut, then you'll feel much better. Put the lime in the coconut. Slow down and call me in the morning. Those 2 little arrows, the 2 little things there are tremolo, right, from ukulele land. But all when in guitar, just take your index finger up and down. It's not as much fun to do tremolo on a guitar than it is on ukulele for some reason. I don't know why. I think because these strings get out of control and start being bossy. All right, this week I want you to make sure you're really comfortable with those 3 chords. On the front page, we're going to talk about that 4th chord real quick. It's an F sharp minor, and you do have to use a full bar on here. Now, I know all 4 of you are pretty comfy with bars on ukulele. But on guitar, of course, the crazy gets even greater. And especially if you have a metal string guitar, you're probably going to be spending a good amount of time over the next couple of years working on, do I push the bar up higher? Do I push it down lower? Do I roll it back? Do I roll it forward? Okay. I have a tendency to have a very flat bar like that. Sometimes I find doing a rounded one where I can get the tops and the bottoms better gives me a better attack angle for the middle strings. But the big thing is you're just be really patient. If yours comes out totally dead, let it be totally dead. It does get better with time, and you just have to work on it. Okay. And then the other thing we're doing is taking ring and pinky and putting them on in strings 4 and 5 in fret 4. Okay, so they're going to go up there and this here. What we're really doing is you're taking your E chord, and then we're changing out the fingering. Okay, and then we're taking off of the middle finger, so now it's an E minor. Sad, and then we're sliding it up 2 frets and adding the bar 2 frets behind, and that's your F sharp minor. Okay, so, and you can use your middle finger to smash down your bar on this one. Okay, you won't learn any bad habits by doing that. Okay, this is another point to mention posture. My thumb, you don't see my thumb, right? It's back here. It's hanging out. It's hiding. It's right behind where my middle finger is, pretty much, and it is slightly below center line on the back of the neck. So I'm more down here than up here, right? So it's sort of down here, and then the guitar is in good posture, in rock and roll posture, right? And that way, I'm spending the least amount of energy on handling that sort of stuff so that I can spend the most amount of energy really focusing in on getting my bar clean. Okay, this week I'd like you to work on, make sure you know all of these chords, but the fun one to work on is Duke, 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 Duke of Earl, which is not in your book, but it's just 4 beats of each of those chords go around and around and around. Okay, so we do that. 1, 2, ready, hey. Duke, 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 Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, back to A, Duke of Earl, Duke, Duke, Duke of F minor, Duke, Duke, Duke of D, Duke, Duke, Duke of E7, Duke, Duke, Duke of A, 2, 3, 4, F sharp minor, 2, 3, 4, and D, 2, 3, 4, and E, 2, 3, 4, and A, and just keep going around and around. That will probably do you just as much good as going through and playing any of the songs, because you're just going to get really comfortable with, all right, here it is. And then I gotta get here and play at whatever speed you have to be on time during the beat. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that's perfectly fine to play at that speed. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, almost missed that 3, 4 and A. So don't feel like that's too slow. There is no too slow in music, and especially guitar. We have such a difficult instrument. It's okay to play half speed or quarter speed when you're first learning a skill, because we want to get it where we don't make a ton of mistakes racing around trying to get stuff. When we play together in ensemble, which we do here, if you see a chord change coming and you need to leave the current chord early in order to get the next chord on, that's perfectly legit. That's not really making a mistake. That's planning ahead that it's going to take you longer to change chords than it might take me to change chords, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to change chords. So this week, and you guys will remind me next week that we're doing the four chord pattern, and then we will look at all of the green ones. So we'll do Soft Kitty, we will do Five Little Monkeys. We will do Hokey Pokey and Hush Little Baby, which ironically we are doing this week in book 2 anyway. So it'll give you a second way to look at those. All right, so that's that. That's your plan for the week. Work on those 4 chords. Get them as smooth as you can, playing Duke, 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 Duke of Earl, and then play any of the green headlines out of the book, and that'll probably be the how much time we have. And then the week after we'll be digging into those blue ones. So if you feel like, you know what, I got this 2-chord business down, you can absolutely start digging into the blue headlines. We may or may not ever do the purple headlines. It's just that F sharp minor is one of those. It's one of the chords that's really a book 3 chord, and it's unfortunate. We have to kind of accept the fact that it's part of this very handy little system here, but we don't spend a ton of time on bar chords till book 3. All right, so there's that. There's your plan for book 1 for the week, and no matter which book you're in, make sure you can do that. Right? That is what most guitar players do, is they strum and sing, and knowing that 4-chord pattern is huge, because if I do it in A, what we just did, it works really nice. If I do it in G, now my chords are G, E minor, C and D. Duh. G, 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 G minor, do, and C, 2, 3, 47, 2, 3, 4, and G. So you can see how all of a sudden now I've transposed the songs, and all I have to know is that 4-chord pattern, and I can play everything in its transposed keys. Some keys are easier than others. G is pretty easy one. D is pretty easy. E's not terrible. So I think those are sort of the main ones where guitarists play. There are all lots and lots of keys, and many of them are not keys that guitarists want to play in, because you've got bars all over the place on every single one. But some of our main keys we want to get comfy with. All right, there's the strumming book. Prepare yourself for more singing next week, and make sure that those 4 chords are in your wheelhouse. Ta-da! All right, let's move into book 2. Book 2, guitar, book 2. I believe tonight is Hokey Pokey night. Is that correct? Let me double check. Sometimes I get busy thinking about stuff and not paying attention. Yes, Hokey Pokey and Hush Little Baby tonight. So let's play Hokey Pokey, get it done and off the list. Nobody wants to play Hokey Pokey, but we're going to. Okay? First of all, let's do the G chord and C chord and G7. C and G7. And back to C. I'm going to play real slow because these are hard chords, and let's take our nice time to get from one to the other and back. Okay? You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in, change, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. Get ready to change. That's what it's all about. Okay, and then you go back to the top, change your strum pattern. You put your right hand in, you put your left hand in, you put your left hand out, change, and you shake it all about. Then you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all change about. Okay, so that is something that's going to come up in your life. So make sure that C to G7 is something that's coming along. Just like we were talking about in the last one, those chords, this C, put it here, guess who shows up over here? G7, they're their best buttons. Their other friend is F. We don't work with F until late in book 2. So he's hanging out, getting ready, you're getting ready to have to do this bad boy. Right, and you want to put him off for a while if you're just getting feeling like, I've got this book 2 business down. When we get to C or F and C7, things sort of go off the rails pretty quickly. We'll get there. Let's play the melody. Okay, I should put on my page turner. There we go. All right, let's got my page turner going. I don't have Hokey Pokey memorized. Nobody has Hokey Pokey memorized. 1, 2, 3. All right, Isla needs to start you off better. It's 1, 2, 3, and then we play. Okay? 1, 2, 3. So not a ton there. The only weird thing in that whole song is you play a 3 on the 3rd string, which is an A sharp, very unusual, or a B flat, depending on how you look at it. It's probably best represented on guitar as an A sharp, and we don't play that. That's a weird note we don't play a ton. You'll see that in comic songs a lot. There'll be these weird notes you don't play a lot. All right, let's go very slowly, one time through on the tough acts, just so we know we've done it, and then we will move away from Hokey Pokey. All right, grab your C chord. Sorry, I'm having allergies or something. All right, to the top. 1, 2, 3. Page 2. C chord. Oh, let's do it one more time. So I went over into the second or the 7th ending there and just played out, just holding the C chord and just plucking the individual strings as necessary. Oddly, the skills that we were talking about in Three Blind Mice show up here. Anytime you're in the G chord, you're using this pinky and this index finger to get melody out, and then these 2 fingers are planted. So that G7, pretty important to use the alternate. It's not really an alternate on G7, your middle and ring up here, so that you can use this to pinky to play some melody notes and your index finger to play some other melody notes. And so I think probably at some point I ought to just come up with a fancy name for the alternate G shape, but it's not on G7. It's not really an alternate G shape. That's really how you make the chord. Beautiful. Hope you had a great time with Hokey Pokey this week. Let's go on to a way better song, Hush Little Baby. It's got weird words to it, but it's a much better use of what we're doing now is pushing you into the outer extremes of guitar. So you got your E chord, which you've learned in book 1. Hush little baby, and then to get to B7, be strategic about it. Okay, so here's your E chord. Move index finger up 1, ring finger down 1. Okay, so that's all you're doing is changing these two guys, and then your pinky goes on to get to the B7. Don't say a word, Papa's gonna buy you a, and then back to E, down, up, off, mockingbird, and if that mocking, up, down, on, bird won't sing, Papa's gonna buy you a, and then off, up, down, diamond ring. Okay, so be just thoughtful. That E chord, you got a lot of moving parts. When I first started, I thought B7 was the hardest chord in the world. I was just like, man, I hate B7. Until I figured out, gosh, it's really not that far off from its friend, right? Just up, down, on, off, up, down. Okay. And so work on that this week, is getting as smooth as you can between hush little. Let's play it together, whatever you can. 1, 2, ready, play. Hush little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird, and if that mockingbird won't sing, then Papa's gonna buy you a diamond ring. Okay, this is a very pro-consumer message in this song. And if everything else fails, you're still sweet, right? You're still the best baby in town. So it's a long list of stuff that Dad's going to buy, trying to get you to be happy. All right, the melody here, notice that when you take a peek at the melody, you got 4s and 5s in there. We don't see a ton of 4s and 5s until we get here in book 2. And so it's a chance for you to be strategic, okay? Normally, index finger in 1, middle finger in 2, ring finger in 3, pinky finger in 4, but there are no 1s and there are 5s, so doesn't it make sense to slide everybody up to 2nd position? 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, oh, good. I'm glad Ian picked that. I always worry, like, when I'm telling you guys stuff, like, if I said this a zillion times and they're like, we know, Gary, or if I said something like, apparently I helped Vic out tonight with E to B7 and back. It is that, and I would say that's true of all chords. Whenever you get a song, you're like, okay, what chords are in here? Take a minute to strategize about, all right, if I'm in C and I need to get to G7, these two go up, this goes down, and to get back, same thing. It's just one of those things you can do prior to playing to talk your fingers into doing things, to do the least amount of work possible to get the effect you're after. Back to the melody here. You're going to play in 2nd position. Now that means you have to remember, right, that you're no longer in 1st position. So when you see a 2, your middle finger is going to get real itchy, like, oh, I always play the 2s. No, today index finger is playing the 2s. Ring finger is going to play 4, and pinky is going to play 5. Okay, and I don't think there are any 3s. So your middle finger is going to do nothing. Okay, so let's give it a try. Start with your ring on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4, 4, 5, 4, 2, 2. Oh, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, 2. Oh, 2, O, O, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, O, O. Repeat it 4 times, and then remember on that 4th time through, you don't play measure 8, you do play measure 9. All right, and then for the tough acts, it does get a lot more difficult. Okay, this is probably the first song in book 2 that's really hard to do. Okay, because you're going to be doing a stretch that your fingers may or may not be comfortable with. Okay, so get your E chord on, and this is a stretch that will come up in your life. So just know that we need to be able to do it. E chord on, hush, pinky way up on 4. Okay, so I strung twice on little. I didn't mean to. Hush, little. And since when we have folk music, we will sometimes cram 2 syllables in the place of 1, right? So what's really supposed to happen here is if that diamond. Okay, but we've got to get little in there. So if you're not going to sing, you just hit the melody note twice. Okay. Hush, little babe, and then let up your chord. There's no way you can reach 5. B, and then as you come back to 4, your B7 has to go on. This is the hard part. Don't, and then pull back to 2. Say a word. Papa's gonna buy you. Slide up to 4, and then grab E chord and a 2 on the way back. Mockingbird, and if that mockingbird won't sing, then Papa's gonna buy you one. And then go to page 2. Diamond ring. And then we'll play it through a few times next week. This is super hard to do. Now, what are you going to do if you can't do it? And what if you can't reach up there? Okay, then it's very simple. Okay. Hush, little baby. Oh, I can't. There's no way to get that B4 on there. Don't, and then put your B7 on. Say a word. Okay. So if the melody goes up too high, just let go of the chord. Go get your melody notes, and then put your chord on when you can. Okay. So the first measure has everything. First 2 measures has everything, and there's going to be a problem. Hush, little baby, don't. And now a real B7. Say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird won't sing, then Papa. All right, and so on. And then the question comes up, at least in my head: is that cheating? Is that naughty? Should I get in trouble for doing that? No. If you are a concert guitarist and you are playing Paganini, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But if you are at home and you are playing folk music and you are learning how to do fingerstyle and something's too hard, absolutely, you make adjustments. I'm working on a song at school, and one part of it is way too hard. And there's a very simple solution. Instead of playing this F, I'm going to play this F. Or this F. Don't play the F sharp. So I'm supposed to play that note, but I'm just substituting this note. It's still an F. makes the whole section where that's in much easier to play. Is anybody going to notice? People who know that song might know, who've already played that song, and they're like, oh, he's cheating. They might notice. I don't care about their opinion, right? I care the fact that I'm trying to get this song as smooth and playable as possible, and in order to do that, that F is going to get played instead of that F. And does the song lose anything out for it? Probably not. Probably not. So let yourself cheat. It's okay. It really is. It's okay to cheat until you are sitting for your senior recital. Even there, I think is probably fine. Applying for graduate school in concert guitar, that's probably not a great place to not cheat. And when you're sitting for your master's degree in guitar performance, you should not cheat. Other than that, I think you should cheat. I think you should. I think it's fine. I don't think anybody who plays guitar would be like, yeah, I would do that too. So if that's too hard, do it that way. You'll see next week. You'll see me probably faking it a little bit too. All right, there's Hush Little Baby. That's a fun one. Hey Kevin, there's an Vic's like, bring on the cheats, man. We're always in that process of what we will find acceptable when we're cheating, right? Like when I do crossword puzzles in the morning, and sometimes I don't know the answer, and sometimes I can't get the answer from the crosses, and so you have this choice. I can sit and stare at it for another 30 minutes and hope by magic that the word comes into my head, or I can just go look on Google. And there are people in the world who would just be aghast that you would actually do that, and then there's others who are like, you know what, I got things to do. I got to get this puzzle done. I'm going to go ahead and get because I don't know the word, right? I don't know what actress is on TBS on Thursday nights, and so you just go look it up, right? And it makes the puzzle just that much more enjoyable. Yeah, maybe learn something on the way. And so again, it's okay to cheat in guitar. This is hard enough. Don't make it purposely hard on yourself. All right, so you got Hush Little Baby for the week. Love that song. I wish the words were different, but I do love it. I think it's got a really nice melody, easy to get along with. Should be fun for you. All right, Book 3, Waltzing Matilda. Let's go take a look at that. Book 3, Waltzing Matilda. There you are. With Waltzing Matilda, I wouldn't spend a ton of time working on the tough acts on this one. I wouldn't spend a ton of time working on the melody. That's a pretty. It's just not that kind of a song. Let's talk about singing it, and then let's talk very quickly about how on that little booklet we said here's your 4 chords: A, F sharp minor, D, and E7. Take a look at what you got going on here. You're in the key of D. Okay, that's the first chord. Going to be the last chord. Lots of D's in the middle, probably in D, right? If I go D and I go A, B, C, do we have any C chords in here? D, E, F, G. There's no C chords in here. What the heck is going on? That's weird. So D, E, F, G. Why did I count to C? I counted wrong. D, E, F, G. I was like, wait a minute. I know what I'm talking about. I went D. What did I do? A, B, C. I think is what I did. So D, E, F, G. Do we have G chords in here? Yes. Next one here, A. Do we have A chords here? Yep, sure do. And then what's the other chord? B minor. It hangs out over here. That's the same as your F sharp minor. Okay. So in the little booklet we do 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 cover whoop do 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 cover do 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 cover do 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 cover do 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 cover. That's the little book. On Waltzing Matilda, Duke 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 cover Duke 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 cover Duke 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 overall, Duke, Duke. Same 4 chords, just transposed into the key of D. Okay, and they're in a little bit different order in this song, so we're going to go D, A, B minor, and G. And in the second system, you got D's, A's, D's, A's. Sneak in a B minor right at the top of page 2. Always a bummer when you have the hard chord at the top of the page turn, right? Especially, if you're on a regular 3-ring binder, you're fine because you're like, yeah, it's easy for me to see what's coming up. But on an iPad, you're like, oh, you turn the page, and you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot there's the hard chord. And so the second page has a little bit more activity chord-wise. So let's take our time. Also notice on page 2, we have some chords that change in the middle of measures. So measure, no we don't. Oh yes we do. Measure 6, 7, measure 8. We start on an A chord and we have to change to a D chord in the middle of a measure. So give yourself an opportunity to win by, if you see a chord change coming up, abandoning your current chord in plenty of time to switch to the next chord. And so I do want to be really clear on that it's less important that you strum every beat in a measure, and it's much more important that you get that key chord on in time. And the only way to do that is to read ahead. So my first chord is a D. I'm getting it on. I'm all ready to play this song. My very first thought is, what's the next chord? Oh, it's going to be an A. Okay, so now I know how to do that. Okay, and what's the next chord after I once I get my A on? What's the next thing I gotta do? Oh, I got to get that stupid B minor on. Okay. By the way, if you're new, or if that's too hard, you can do the ukulele E minor. That one. Okay, that's your B minor, right? Just don't hit these upper strings. Okay. A really not cool sound happens. Right. So you can hit the D string. It's fine. So an inverted B minor, what it is. But ideally, it's really your A minor moved up to 2. That's the chord you're going to try to hit. Okay, and once you get that on, or don't get it on, you've got to move on to G. So we'll go nice and slow here in the beginning, and we'll probably do it a couple times through, just so we can get a chance to get some B minors on and get them off. So, and if you can't, you can't. What are you going to do? Okay, you're going to work on it until you can. 1, 2, ready, play. Once a jolly swag man camped beside the billabong, under the shade of a coolibah tree, and he sang as he watched, and he waited till his billy boil. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, way too high, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched, and he waited till his belly boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. To the top. Down came a jumbuck to drink beside the billabong. Up jumped the swag man and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda. I'll try it low. Waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched, and he waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. One more time, last verse. Up jumped the swag man, he sprang into the billabong. You'll never catch me alive. Splash. And his ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You'll come a waltzing waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang, Ghost may be heard as you pass along that billabong. You'll come a-waltzing Matilda with me. Right? So, clearly I forget the words as I'm going along. I got caught several times on the B minor myself. I'm like, oh, make sure you're reading ahead. And then I kept being goofing around, and then I didn't get my B minor on very cleanly. So you get a little of this, and then you just go on to whatever your next chord is. You don't lose any sleep over it. Mistakes happen, whatever. Yeah, so there's that. I would say I wouldn't spend a ton of time working on the melody on this one. It's just not particularly helpful. But I do think one of the things you notice when we get to measure 10, it goes way above where my voice can sing. And you can even see it on the guitar tablature. It's going all the way up to 10. Okay, what is the chance of me singing at that note? It's not happening. So in order for me to pull this song off, I would have to look at a different key that brings everything down much lower to get started with, so that I'd be singing, once a jolly swagman, and when that way, when I get to waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, it's still probably going to be outside of my singing range because it's definitely a lot harder. It's a song with a lot of range in it, and so getting from the lowest note to the highest note, the high note's high compared no matter where you start. Danny Boy has the same problem. There's a couple of notes in there that are just so high that it takes a professional singer to get to them, so that's always going to be a problem. But for sure in this key, there's no chance I'm ever going to play this note out of my face, or 10, that note. And so I would need to be in a different key to have any hope at all of pulling this song off as a singing one. And so don't worry about it if it goes too high. You just sort of croak your way through the high notes and move on until you're ready to go perform down at the coffee shop or up at Red Rocks or whatever. Then you need to have it in a key that works for you. Until then, just croak through the high notes and move on along. There is a tough X on here. Again, not a big fan of it. I don't think you need to work on it very hard. All right, then the last song, for you for this week is Water is Wide. Isn't that exciting? Water is Wide is wonderful. We might spend a couple weeks on this one. So Water is Wide is a beautiful piece of music. Now look at what you're dealing with here in measure 2. Exactly the same problem that we were dealing with in the other book with Hush Little Baby. And you're going, the water is, and now you have this E chord, pinky way up here on 4. Wide, bum, bum, bum. So if you can't play that, okay, here's where we get into even more subtlety of cheating, okay? Okay, that's what the sheet music wants, right? It wants an E chord, pinky up on 4. You can see how much my pinky is just hating life, right? Be thoughtful about, hey man, pull that. Make sure your chicken wing, not chicken wing in it. It's going to make it more difficult. Bring your elbow down. Try to get this as much curve on this as you can. The problem will be really between this, right? Between your ring finger and your pinky finger. That's where the challenge is, okay? If that's not going to happen, you can do this. Okay? Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so just play the single note by itself. If you want to cheat a little bit differently, you can pick some of the notes, okay? So what about just the 1 and the 4? Okay, I played that 4th string. It sounded terrible, so don't do that. Okay, just play the bottom 3. Probably if you can get 1 and 4 on like that, you can probably get your middle finger up on fret 2 of string 4. Now you have most of the chord, and okay. So now you're cheating in a different way. You are still losing this note and the top note. That's fine. Okay, you're losing this note and this note, which are lovely notes, and we wish we could have them, but if your hand won't do it, just play this is your bottom 4. Okay, so then you have you still hit the 5th string. Just one more time. A chord. Okay, so now it's easy. Four on the 2nd string is weird. And then you've got this crazy chord. It's a C sharp minor. Okay, so it looks exactly like your D7, except you're up 1 string. Isn't that beautiful? A chord. Now you've got in the middle of major 7, you have a bar 2. You're sitting on this A. I always play the A open just like a plain old regular A. And then I'm going to switch to my bar A and drop my pinky on 4. Okay, I might, in this case, because I've got the 5 right after, I may use my ring finger. And then look what you got, F sharp minor. We can just talk about this in book 1. Just bar up there. And we were talking about this a little bit ago, B7. Isn't it funny how you work on music in one way and all that stuff just comes back and you're like, oh, we were just talking about that. Okay, now here's again, this 4 is way up here on B7. Maybe you can do it. Okay, maybe you can do it. If you can't, just play the 4. Okay, bar on 4, ring on 7, pinky on 7. And then notice this G sharp minor. Again, just bar on 4 and then your E minor. So all you're doing is your F sharp minor, which is really your E minor. When it's on 4, it's a G sharp minor. Okay, then I would use your middle finger to get to these 5s. And then you abandon that bar to get down to here. Okay, here again is this E chord with the up on 4. A chord. Now here's a really cool. This is a different G sharp, the G sharp minor, but it's down in the sheet music. The chord is up on 4, but in the tough acts we can pull it down here to just the 1st fret, and we'll get away with it. Okay, and then the whole song repeats itself. So it's the first part, she's in love, and the love is as deep as the ocean, basically. And then the second time you play the song, she's out of love and she's left behind. And we assume it's a sad female narrator here. It might be. I wonder if it was actually, and I don't think we know who wrote this. We don't. Probably a boy. But it'd be cool to think that a girl wrote it. Woman wrote it. And so the second part of the song is identical to the first part. And then the first verse is happy and the second verse is sad. It's really one of these really beautiful songs. If all you play is the melody, you're gonna win here. So if you're in book 1, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna play the melody, and you'll do just fine. This is also a really lovely one. Maybe if you guys remind me next week, we could try it as a duet. You play the melody and I play the chords, or vice versa, right? And you might end up with something really pretty. Okay, so there's Water is Wide. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're way over on time. Oh, you guys, that's terrible. Okay, should we do classical or should we not? I didn't realize how much I'd talk tonight. All right, classical people, should we keep going, or do you wanna pick up next week? Give me a little advice on that. Apologize, I didn't know we had gone that far over. Book 3, Water is Wide. I think a lot of times it's like, how's your hands feeling? Should we keep going or should we call it good? Waiting and waiting. All right. How about this? Let me see here. Let's go grab one classical. I like that idea. So here's what we'll do. We will play Autumn Waltz. We will look at exercise 13. We'll put Tourdion off for the week. And then classical. Okay. So let's put, let's just go for it. Come on, guys. We can do this. Grab Autumn Waltz out of book 1. Autumn Waltz, book 1. Book 0. I changed my book all around, and I'm going to have to do something different here. All right, Autumn Waltz, really slow. If you're on melody, well, we don't really have an only melody one, but we do have a mostly melody one, right? Okay. I'm going to play, I think I'll play fancy guitar, just so that if you're playing the regular one, it'll help fill it out. Okay. So 4-beat count in, 3-beat count in plus a rest. Start with your A minor on. Okay. 1, 2, 3, rest. Alright, I made too many mistakes, but you guys got the big idea, right? Hopefully you're playing at home pretty well. Yeah, isn't that pretty? That's a heck of a way to start a study program. If you can get where you can play that, that's going to take you through book 1 and book 2 pretty far. I mean, they do a ton of A minor, E, D minor stuff in these first couple of books, and so that's really pretty. It's really nice piece of music. Let's talk very quickly about exercise 13. That's going to be the piece you work on this week for classical, and you can look at that and you can be like, okay, Gary gave us a fancy guitar, and I have the tough axe. Now the tough axe is what's in the book, right? And what's really in the book is just the guitar solo. I add on the tablature for you guys because honestly, there's no reason not to. In classical guitar, they all get all fussy about that, but I see it as a very helpful tool. So I do it on all my music for school and get a little bit of like, what are you up to here? You're making things easier. It can be a little bit of a crutch, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so exercise 13, I would definitely just do the tough X line first. What am I doing? But now notice I was just using my thumb. You don't want to do that. Okay, use your claw position. This is classical, right? So you want to be doing it that way. And in this case, 2, 0, 1, 3, 0, thumb, 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 ring, thumb, middle, thumb, open, thumb, 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 middle, index, O, thumb, 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 3, thumb, O, thumb, 1, thumb, 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 index, open, index, middle, ring, thumb, 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 ring, thumb, middle, thumb, open, thumb, 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 1, O, 3, 1, O, 1, 3, 1, O, thumb, 1, O, 2, bong, bong, bong. So what you want to be doing, at least to give yourself a fighting chance down the road, is start working on index middle, index middle, index middle, index middle. And you guys have done a ton of arpeggios with me on ukulele, and so you're already miles ahead. We do a lot of index, middle, and ring. But be creative here. Notice that your index and ring finger are the same length. So a lot of times it might be easier to do index, ring, index, ring. Yes. And then on the bass notes, always use your thumb for the most part. Carry. 1. So I'm doing a bad job of it, but you can see what I'm working on there is index, ring, index, ring, index, ring, only because they're the same length, and sometimes it's easier, but definitely work on index, middle. Most of classical guitars are really, really good with their index and middle. And don't be shy about using your ring finger. You guys are ukulele players as well, and we use a ton of ring in ukulele because we can, and bring that in. In modern guitar, they're spending a lot more time talking people into using their ring, where they used to sort of be like, oh, index and middle are fine, you just use those. But you bring in that ring finger can really help you with some of these tunes. So there's exercise 13. And then obviously go back and do the fingerstyle version. And then notice at measure 2, there's a 2-2-3. Don't refinger it as 2-2-3. You're on the A minor, just add your pinky. Same in the middle of measure 3, just add your pinky. And then back to A minor. Drama. Or yeah. Make it very dramatic at the end. All right, so exercise 13, not meant to be some major cool piece of fingerstyle guitar, but here it can be, right? You take what's written on there and then turn it into something a lot more interesting. All right, beautiful. Sorry, we're keeping you so late. Let's grab book 1. I'm trying to go super fast now. Go grab Tourdion. We're going to need another week on this. I spent a good deal of time this week working on it, and it is a lot more challenging than I want it to be. So I'm going to leave it on the list for one more week, and then I'm going to drop on Andante and G on you this week, and that's going to be 3 or 4 weeks on that one. So, oh, hot girl's here. Hold on. Let me make this little robot go away. Sorry, guys. This happens from time to time. And click on this guy. How do I get rid of him? Let's see, I have a way of making them go away. Shoot. Oh, there it is. It's this little thing here. Hi, user. All right, so that should get rid of that guy, and good. Okay, sorry, sometimes it's so weird that we get robots through here once in a while. Let's play Tourdion, see how we do, and then we'll talk very briefly about Andante. Okay, for sure I would be in classical position for sure on this piece. Okay, and very slow. You're going to need to double check the length of your notes up in the standard notation. So keep an eye on quarter notes versus eighth notes. It's in 6/4. There's 6 quarter notes in every measure. It's very weird. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Repeat that section. Oh, sorry. Keep going. Quarter or eighth notes. Whoop, sorry. Gary. Let's repeat it. So I do want one more week on that. It's because it's Baroque music. It doesn't fit in my head quite as good as some of the other stuff we're going to be working on, and so that's just a nice little piece there. It's very Baroque, very short, exactly what you want, right, to get you kind of thinking about the different sounds. It does sound really very historical, don't you think? I kind of think that's kind of fun. Now, I gave you Andante in G. This is a big piece. This is a big piece of music, guys. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time on this one. What I will be playing will be the tough axe line. What was in the original is in the guitar line. Okay, so I added in a nice bass line. I think it sounds really cool, and so you can decide which one you want to play, but I would for sure start on the guitar line and then think about then switching over to tough axe. And Nancy, who plays in the orchestra with us, played this a couple weeks back, much faster than I play it, and really, really beautiful. And so I want you to start working on this one. I spent 6 months probably on this when I first got into classical guitar, and so know that that it takes a while, but it is largely built around the chord shapes. Okay, so let me give you a little taste of what you're going to be getting into. I'm going to play it super slow, and if you want to try playing along with me, do so. 1, 2, 3, 4. I went through the wrong fingers, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, you can play through the wrong. You can play through it," and I couldn't. From the top, and I'm just counting in 4. I'm not. I'm just getting you warmed up, right? The exact timing you do does not need to be anywhere what my timing is. 1, 2, ready, play. Then you'll repeat that page. Okay, isn't that pretty? And then on page 2 is not page 1 at the bottom is kind of hard, especially measure 4. And then this page, it actually starts out a little more cooperative, but then it gets pretty crazy in measure 7 and 8. So you'll probably spend most of your time looking at those. In measure 5, I grab the D7. Repeat it, and then the last time. Okay, so play it crazy slow. You've got a ton of fingering markings down in the hard part there in measures 7 and 8. Take them serious; they are correct. Well, measure 7. Now, first one I listed is 4. I usually play it with a 3, and then the second series there I have a 2. I usually play that with, or I have a 1, and I usually play that with a 2. So let me double check the fingering again, make sure it is what I'm doing. Definitely, start with the guitar line and then switch to the tough axe line. That's an hour and a half. That's way too long, you guys. Plenty to keep you busy. We'll play Tourdion and Andante. I'm going to leave both of those on our classical list because they're both much harder than the other stuff. I think for book 1, we'll end up with stuff several weeks for the most part. It's a lot harder than the book 0 stuff. The book 0 stuff was plenty hard, as you know. The chords don't help, do they? Probably not overly much. Yeah, this would be a great place. When I originally arranged this, I don't know, many years ago, I was definitely a chord player, and I thought, but yeah, I would say for the most part, the chords are not overly helpful here. That's a great question, Linda. So there we go on that. Okay, I hope you guys are having a great evening. Sorry I kept you almost double the amount of time I meant to. At some point you'd be like, hey Gary, shut up and just move on, right? We're going to keep, we got a lot that we're going trying to get better at, you guys, so hopefully you understand. You guys understand, you know what's going on. All right, thank you guys for being here. I will see you next week, and have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully everybody stays warm and happy. Play some guitar. Peace.